Welcome to the Business Finance Bulletin, episode 289. Welcome again to the latest Business Finance Bulletin. With me, Rob Warlow from Business Loan Services, the commercial finance experts. In this bulletin, Just Cashflow to use Augmented Intelligence to support startups with finance, majority of SMEs turning to alternative lenders instead of banks, and late payment strategies being used to tackle late payment problems. When it comes to raising finance, startups in particular find it a bit of a challenge. The main high street banks, perhaps understandably, see it as a high-risk area and is not an area that they want to be providing finance into. So where do startups go for finance? Well, that's a gap that's been identified by the alternative cash flow provider, Just Cashflow. They've announced that they're now going to be using Augmented Intelligence, or AI, in order to identify those startups which have a higher likelihood of success and then offer them finance. So how is this use of AI going to work? Well, Just Cashflow will pull information from companies' house as regards the number of new limited companies that have been opened, and then scan thousands of data points in terms of the company's website, the sector they're going to operate in, who are the directors behind it, their experience, information taken from social media such as LinkedIn profiles. They'll pull all this data together and come up with a propensity index. This index is a measure of the likelihood of success. The higher the index, the higher the success rate is likely to be. Once they've got that information, human underwriters will then take a look at all this data and decide then via a final check whether they wish to offer that company startup finance of up to £25,000. A really innovative idea here from Just Cashflow, and perhaps the beginnings of moving away from just relying on credit scores, but you're using a lot of other information that is out there. So well done to the Just Cashflow team. Now, if you want to know more about what Just Cashflow does, just go along to their website, which is just-cashflow.com, and here we are perhaps at the start of a new dawn when it comes to banks assessing whether they want to support a business or not. Businesses are using alternative finance providers than the main high street banks over the last 5 years. Well, that's a finding from the latest Small Business Finance Markets report undertaken by the British Business Bank. Now, this report says looked at activity levels over the last 5 years, and there's some interesting figures come out as to where businesses are turning to for finance. So in terms of volumes of business being transacted over 5 years, asset finance, that's up by 32%. In terms of equity, that's up 131%. Marketplace lending, that's peer-to-peer lending and crowdfunding, that's up a massive 374%. Now, how does this benchmark against the high street banks? Well, over the last 5 years, there's really only been an increase of 1.2%. That's a massive shift away from the old guard to the new players in the marketplace. In fact, the report also highlights that in 2019, 52% of small businesses that were looking to raise money went to the alternative finance market, not the high street banks. So we can see that over the last 5 years, a very interesting shift in behavior. So if you are thinking of raising finance and you're not quite sure what option to go for, always happy to have a chat. Just drop us an email, info@businessloanservices.co.uk. To close this bulletin, I want to take a look at a report issued by the Money Advice Trust. This is a charity that runs the Business Debtline, which is a free service for business owners who need support and advice in terms of managing debt. Now, the report found that 45% of businesses say they are suffering from late payment, and this is impacting on their businesses in a number of ways. First of all, chasing late payers is taking a disproportionate amount of time. Secondly, it's having a negative impact on the viability of their business. And lastly, but more importantly, it's beginning to have a negative impact on their mental well-being. Now, the report also found out that 59% of businesses said that they think their customers are using late payment as a way of managing their own cash flow problems. In other words, they're passing the buck by replicating what they're seeing, i.e., I will delay my payments in order to keep my cash flow going. Now, if everybody did that in the economy, of course, the whole thing is just going to grind to a halt. So what do Business Debtline want to happen? Well, first of all, they want to see the Small Business Commissioner having more teeth in order to be able to fine persistent late payers. They want the prompt payment code strengthened so that businesses have to pay in 30 days instead of the minimum 60 days that the prompt payment code advocate. And lastly, they want to see more focus on the business's ability to charge statutory interest on overdue debts. So some good ideas there from a Business Debtline in order to help tackle this problem of late payments. For another bulletin, as ever, I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please don't forget to give it a like and a share. So that's it. Look forward to being with you next time. In the meantime, have a great, successful and profitable week.